What's going on, everybody? It's John with ACTION-FLIX.com coming at you with another episode of the Action-Fix Podcast Live. And hopefully I stay on the air. As you all know, or some of you might know, some of you did know because some of you were watching last night. I went live and it lasted around 14 minutes. That's right, 14 minutes. Then I got cut off. It is what it is. When you do live TV, it's going to happen. I get it. I understand. But it's like, it gets kind of frustrating at times, but I'm going to keep plugging along. So I figure I had some time this morning. It was roughly 10 o'clock in Panama City Beach time. I know, like, doing a live show during the day, there's not a lot of, everybody's working or doing whatever they got to do. But I figure I would get this episode of the Action Fix Live, episode 4. So again, remember, now I'm counting them. So this is the relaunch of the Action Fix Live. So as you can see, it's kind of sunny behind me. I got my window behind me, but I got a little bit of a different view if you guys notice. Like, because normally, actually, hang on. I always get this wrong when I do my hands. But I normally, you see all that stuff behind me over here. But I figured I'd switch it up a little bit, show you some of the posters. Yes, I am a G.I. Joe Retaliation fan. I apologize. I know a lot of you guys hate that movie, but I love it. I actually like the first one, too. I like the first one. I like the second one. Sue me. All right. Of course, see Jon Bernthal, the Punisher, behind me as well. Triple Threat Commando, little Jason Statham over there in the corner for you. So I just figured I'd switch things up a little bit. And of course, last night I was going live. I had a lot of stuff to talk about. Of course, we had breaking news regarding Rambo. I gotta thank you. Hey, thanks a lot. Hey, somebody's watching. Awesome. All right. So so I was talking about, let me get on here. So as you can see, here's my website, my front page, all nice and new. That's been done a little bit differently. Tiger Shroff, did you see the trailer for Boggy Foray? This is a trailer technical, so I'm not going to talk about any trailers. But there we go. That's what I'm talking about. Noah Centineo. Boy, do you guys have your comments. Yes, this was announced last night, everybody. And I was going live and I was going to talk about it. I actually was talking about it. I had actually, like I said, I got cut off 14 minutes in. So I had actually talked a lot about this last night before I had my technical difficulties. So yes, it was announced yesterday. Actually, it's been announced for a while that Millennium has been planning to do a Rambo prequel, which throws John J. Rambo as a younger lad in Vietnam. So we're going to see his origin, if you will. A lot of people are saying that we don't need to see an origin because, they talked about it enough throughout the 5 films and everything. But like I said, do we need a Rambo prequel? Like, we didn't need Rambo Last Blood. It ended great with Rambo 4. Then they announced Rambo Last Blood. Rambo Last Blood. A lot of people don't consider that a Rambo movie. They're just saying, hey, if it was an action movie with Sylvester Stallone, it'd be great. I think it's a Rambo movie, and I'll defend it night and day till I'm 6 feet under. And of course, read my review. It's online. It's been online since the movie came out a few years ago. It's a Rambo movie. It's a Rambo movie where he's in his 70s. I mean, do we need to see? No, nobody wants to see Rambo in his 70s. He's not the Rambo that you see in this picture that I use where he's in the jungles of Vietnam, blowing Russian soldiers and Viet Cong away with an M60 machine gun when he, goes traipsing through the jungles and then eventually loads up on a Huey gunship and just blows the shit out of everything. That was a Rambo that was tired. He just wanted to rest. He was home. And of course, all the tragedy struck because Rambo's a tragic character, if you think about it. So we didn't need Rambo Last Blood, but we got Rambo Last Blood. And I love Rambo Last Blood. I love all the Rambo movies. And again, now we ask ourselves the same questions. Do we need a prequel movie? No, we do not need a prequel movie. Let me just get that out of the way. I am a firm believer that no, if they never made a Rambo prequel movie, I would have been fine. And I would have been like, with the 5 Rambo movies that I do have. So let's talk about it, shall we? So this came out, and boy, was it interesting. Deadline brought it to our attention. And actually, it was announced a while ago that Sisu director, what is his name actually? Sisu director Jalmari Highlander, if I'm saying that right, who did Sisu. If you watch Sisu, and I never got a chance to do a review for that one, but that just balls out, crazy, off the chain action in the goofiest, best way possible. He's been tapped to direct it, so that bodes well for the prequel series because what he did with Sisu, it's just holy cow. If he does just a little bit of what he did with Sisu with the Rambo prequel is going to be pretty good. But according to Deadline, this is what I put, as you can see here on the screen. The film's plot is under wraps. So they have not officially released what the plot is, but we do know it will be an origin story of a young John Rambo during the Vietnam War. So he's going to be in the Vietnam War. Is it him just getting to Vietnam, or has he been in Vietnam for a while? We do not know. One of the most iconic action heroes in U.S. cinema, the character was created by David Morrell, of course, in his novel First Blood, which actually Rambo dies at the end of the novel. It's not a spoiler alert. He died. David Morrell killed Rambo at the end of that. But, of course, in First Blood, the movie, with Sylvester Stallone, he lived. And, of course, we got all the action greatness that transpired thereafter, if you will. So, yeah, in his novel, First Blood, the original 1982 film, which I did see in the theater. I've been there since the beginning, everybody. Saw Sylvester Stallone play the Green Beret, who was forced by a cruel sheriff, played by the late great Brian Dennehy, and his deputies to flee into the mountains and wage an escalating one-man war against his pursuers. The 5 movies in the franchise have generated more than $800 million worldwide, which isn't bad if you think about it. These are hard R-rated movies. And if you talk about it, you guys been hearing the thing about inflation, especially like with the Superman movie? Oh, if Man and Steel came out, and again, I'm not even gonna get into that. Anyway, so 2019's Rambo: Last Blood was produced by Millennium and Slice Balboa, which made $92 million at the box office. Not that's a good chunk of change, and I'm pretty sure that they made it within a reasonable budget, so it was profitable. So it makes sense that they're going to tap the well. Slice, I'm pretty sure, done with it. He's doing his Tulsa King thing. Season 3 is coming out of that pretty soon. So this is a new way to go. And let me flash back down here to the thumbnail I created where it shows Noah Centineo from the movie Warfare, the sensational movie Warfare, the movie Warfare, which should be nominated for an Academy Award for Best Picture this year. But I think it's going to be nominated for something. Whether it's Best Picture, I don't know, because it's a hard movie to watch. It's a really brutal, stripped down war movie. It's not an action movie, although I'm still going to put it in my list this year because there is. I mean, it's not like Rambo. It's not like Next to You, like the picture you see, like next to Noah in Warfare. It's not that. It's not a celebration of a war, a celebration of action, or celebration of violence. It's Navy SEALs thrust into an unimaginable situation because of something that happens on a routine mission, and then they basically have to fight for their lives. So Noah Centineo is in that movie, and he is sensational in the movie, and he's one of next gen's really true good actors. I mean, he was in The Recruit for Netflix. And here's the problem that I think people see when they hear Noah Centineo's name. Noah got his first big break, or he rose to prominence with the Netflix series of films To All the Boys I Loved Before, which was a romantic comedy set of films where Noah is the love interest to the female. I can't remember the actress's name, but I did watch it with my daughters. I do have daughters, and they watched it. So I watch all types of movies. I enjoyed them. They were exciting. No, not exciting. No, I'm not gonna. Okay, they were enjoyable, is what I wanted to say. Thank you. Enjoyable, not exciting. Enjoyable. All right, but for me, watching them with my daughters, they were what they were. Noah did a good job, but then people say like, "Oh, it's the kid from those." Yeah, he's an actor. So now since then, he's gone on to do The Recruit, which had a lot of action in it. I have not finished The Recruit, though, although it's not coming back, unfortunately. So I will, in due time, finish watching that one. If it ends on a cliffhanger, I'll be really upset because it's like, because obviously they were probably thinking it was supposed to come back and then it got canceled by Netflix. But he's been doing the action thing. And of course, if you guys remember a few years back when Netflix was trying to get the Masters of the Universe film going, he was tapped to play He-Man. All right, before Nicholas Galtzine, I think his name is. Now he's doing it, and of course we've been seeing the images, and they had the little teaser with the logo and everything, and the music from the cartoon, which was awesome, I thought. So I'm getting kind of pumped for that. But he was gonna be He-Man at one time before that was totally scrapped, and then it went over to Amazon MGM. So here's the thing. So now he's gonna be John J. Rambo, a young John J. Rambo, in the jungles of Vietnam, doing his thing. And of course, we don't know the timeline during the Vietnam War. Like I said, is it going to show him like at the beginning, like he's a young lad, and then he goes off to war, and then it shows him become battle hardened, and I would watch that. I would love to see the transformation of regular John J. Rambo, who came from Arizona, thrust into the jungles of Vietnam, and then turned into this killing machine, because he's a Green Beret. So obviously he's not only a soldier, he's a special forces elite soldier in the Vietnam War. And of course, special operations have changed throughout the years, but still they were badasses just as much then as they are now. So I would totally take a movie where I see a young Rambo become a battle-hardened Rambo. That would be pretty effing awesome, if to put it simply. Now, of course, all you guys have your comments and stuff like that. And actually, I've seen some positive comments. I've seen a lot of people saying, "Hey, Noah Centineo, good choice. Hey, the guy's a good actor. I mean, he's got that look about him. I mean, he kind of looks like a young Stallone, if you do it in certain way. Obviously, he's been doing the moppy hair and the beard thing as of late and stuff like that. It is what it is. But he's a good actor, and I think he could really bring something to it. Now, I also wrote in my article that, and of course, I read online before I did this redo of my live broadcast from yesterday. Stallone is aware of the movie. He's been aware of the movie. And he is now aware that Noah Centineo is going to be playing his character of John J. Rambo in the movie. He has not made a statement. He hasn't. I think at some point he's going to get on social media and be like, hey, hopefully he's on board. Now, they're saying that he's not involved with the project, but that could change. He could come in some way, shape, or form. Could he maybe play bookend Rambos? I would take that. So I would see okay, because after Rambo Last Blood, like at the beginning, we see an older Rambo played by Sylvester Stallone, then it backtracks to Vietnam, and then we see Noah doing his thing as a young John J. Rambo. And at the end, it goes back to present day where Stallone is a older Rambo again. That's a good idea. Millennium. If you're not putting it in your script, you should. Because that would be the ultimate passing of the torch, if you will. So you could probably be like Stallone passing it to Noah. And of course, then we could get Noah playing in other entries. And then of course, there's hardcore action fans that can't really accept the fact or get out of the past and be like, oh, Stallone's Rambo. I get it. Yes, I'm nostalgic. But there's a difference between being nostalgic and stuck in the past. I'm nostalgic, meaning I love my stuff that I grew up on. I love the 80s. I love the 90s, even the late 70s, because I was born in 72. So I was there for Superman and Star Wars in the late 70s. So I grew up during the greatest time ever. Like today, I tell my daughters all the time, boy, if you grew up during my time, it was a lot better than it is now. I'm not going to lie. This world is effed up. I mean, the world was effed up back then, but this is a serious kind of effed up right now. But I'm nostalgic for the music, the movies, the TV shows, all that good stuff. I'm not stuck in the past, though. I know where I'm at. I know where I exist right now. And I'm okay with the sense that they're doing this if they do it the right way. And of course, I got this guy. He's a friend of mine. I've never talked to him. I got Facebook friends that I don't talk to, but he's in the industry. I guess he's a stunt man. But every time I put out an article, this guy has a negative ass comment every single time. It could be anything. And this guy will shit on it. I'm just like, Jesus. I'm like, if you're not in the movie as a stuntman, he craps on everything. And then of course I do a post. I forget what it was. It was just a little while ago. Okay. I did a post about an action movie starring, I can't remember who the woman was, who the actress was, but it was a female-centric action movie. I'm trying to figure it out. Oh, yes. Okay, I remember. It was Predator Badlands. As we all know, Ellie Fanning is in it. She plays the dual role where she's the android, and then she's playing another role, too, at the same time, where she hooks up with the Predator and goes with him on his journey. And then this guy goes like, we're going to be Schwarzenegger, and like big guys in the jungle, and like big beefy guys with big machine guns and this and that. I'm like, guy, did you watch the first Predator? Big beefy guys with machine guns got their asses kicked by the Predator. So like we've seen that already. So like Dan Trachtenberg is doing different things. And yes, there's a woman in it. Oh my God. It's like, so he bitched about that. And then of course I put this out and he's like, there's only one Sylvester Stallone, there's only one Rambo, there's only one this and that and this and that and this and that. I'm like, shut up. Holy shit. Shut up. Can you tell how I get angry? I just delete it. I don't even say anything anymore. I just delete. I was like, I get it. It's your opinion, but it's so toxic. It's not even funny. Like I said, do we need this Rambo? No. But you're talking to a man who's been there since day uno. First Blood came out in the movie theaters, and my older sister said, let's go see this movie. Was I old enough to see it? No, but that's how great my family was, okay? I mean, if you think about today, Rambo, First Blood, the first movie, has violence in it and some profanity, but it's not really that bad. I mean, it's like, it's a good drama. It's an action drama. I mean, could you call it an action movie? Probably not. You definitely call the other ones action movies, but this one was more of a drama with action beats in it. But it wasn't like an exceptionally horrible movie. There wasn't like rapid nudity and like bloodletting everywhere. I mean, there were some parts where it was like, ooh, and stuff like that. But I was there from day one. Okay. And I always say, and if you follow me on my website, actually, this is my 10-year anniversary. Let me put it up here. Yeah, baby. 10-year anniversary for ACTION-FLIX.com. If I had those poppers, I'd be shooting them up. So if you've been following me in all my years of doing this website and now the podcast, I always say that I reserve judgment until I see images, footage, a trailer, and then I'm like, okay, now in the past that has still tricked me. As you all know, Road House, the reimagining with Jake Gyllenhaal. I at first I was like, no, I was one of you guys that was like, why are you remaking Road House? God damn you. And then I saw the trailer and I was like, this looks pretty good. I actually thought it looked great from the trailer. I thought that, like, man, I'm like, this looks pretty solid. And then I watched the movie, and then it's a Roadhouse movie without any roadhousing. It's like there's literally no bar fights. There's like one or two like 30-second fights, and then at the end, he has a great fight with Conor McGregor at the end. Do not get me wrong, the finale's pretty cool, but it's like it's not a Roadhouse movie at all. So trailers have tricked me in the past. So I'm like, I'm not going to be one of those guys that are going to be like, they're having somebody else play John J. Rambo. No, only Stallone can play John J. Rambo. And then one guy even said, why don't we do the AI, doing the younger version, like having Stallone play it, but like de-aging him, if that's what it's called, de-age. I'm like, no, that would be a horrid mistake. Oh my God, then you'd be just watching the whole movie and be like, I know he's older, just make him look young. That's a horrible idea. So if you're gonna do a prequel movie, yes, you recast the character with a younger actor. And I said in my article, if you've already read it, I put it out yesterday, and I was going to talk, and I did talk about it before I went off the air unexpectedly. Thank you for those that showed up. Real Popcorn Geek showed up, but there was actually a couple of people coming in and commenting, and I was getting all excited, and then boop, it went away. So I apologize. So if you're ever watching me, and I just click out, something happened. And I live in Panama City Beach, and I've been very vocal about how the internet sucks down here and the power goes out all the time. You get a thunderstorm, boom, you can pretty much, every time I start doing a recording and I hear thunder outside, I'm like, damn it, because I know that the power's probably going to go off. So if that ever happens, just be like, yep, John lost power, and then I'll be back. I'll come back and do it again. So anyway, so here's what I wrote in my article. So I already mentioned Stallone's aware of it, but he has not made a formal statement or anything about the movie, nor the casting of Noah Centineo. It also says that there's some hurdles that the movie has to go over. Lionsgate, who put out the last two movies, is in line to put out this one as well. But they say there's some hurdles that they have to get over, but it's headed in the right direction. And they want to start filming early 2026, early next year in Thailand. Pretty cool. Location. And of course, Highlander is going to be doing the directing. And of course, Lionsgate has worked with him, with Sisu. So they have a good working relationship, I suppose. So it looks like Lionsgate is going to be putting it out through Millennium Media. So I'm a Rambo fan. And this is why I wrote, who has been there from the beginning. I saw First Blood in theaters on opening weekend. I did. And I saw it actually, I only saw it, I think, once in a theater. But then, of course, when it came to VHS, watched it a shitload of times. and have since watched them all on the big screen and countless times at home throughout the decades. I know there will be a lot of hate for this, but alas, I'm sticking to my motto of needing to see footage before I make a sound judgment. Do we need this? Of course not. No, nobody was clamoring for a Rambo origin story, but it's happening. So let's embrace it, and maybe we'll get a kick-ass, Ram. I know what they're gonna say. All right, it's not a Rambo movie because Stallone's not it. I get it. I understand your pain, but it's unfounded. But it is happening, and I have faith in Highlander, if I'm pronouncing his last name right. To deliver a bloody and brutal product, because he what he did with Sisu, like if he just does half of what he did in Sisu, this Rambo origin movie is going to be kick ass. Because he delivered a masterclass in brutal and unflinching action. That's what I wrote here. Plus, if there's any young actor who could pull this off, it's Centineo. It is. He's a solid next gen actor and was sensational in warfare. So he's had military training through technical advisors doing that movie and everything. So he would again go in and learn and hone his skills again. So yeah. So that's what I'm going to say about that. Do we need it? No. Are we getting it? Yes. From the look of it, sounds like it says like like I said, it says like they have hurdles, but at the same time, sorry, I was just getting back in. I was getting back into position for the next story. Yeah, we don't need it, but but with as long as they overcome the hurdles and everything, it sounded like they're going to shoot in 2026. And that means it might come up later next year or early 2027. And again, until I see footage or any type, because we're going to get images, we're going to get on-set shit, because we always do. Christ, Spider-Man brand new day started filming, and their first day, they invited everybody to come down. Did you see that? Of course you did. Because it was like Tom Holland on a tank, and he was saying hi to fans. He's picking up children like a president and kissing them and stuff like that. So I was like, wow. Obviously, they let everybody come on because nothing spoilery was going to happen. But I mean, it's Spider-Man on a tank. Oh, he's battling a tank in the movie. But yeah, so I'm sure we'll see maybe some on-set stuff. Noah's going to do some PR, I'm sure. So yeah, so I'm excited. I mean, am I excited? No, I'm like I said, it is what it is. But I'm not going to sit there and like totally flip my shit, because like I said, I love action movies. So if I'm gonna get a Rambo prequel origin movie with him in Vietnam, and then we see him hardened into this badass warrior, and I think Noah can crush it. I think he can honor Stallone and the legacy of the franchise. Why not? I mean, just don't, get toxic, man. It's like, don't sit there and like comment on my posts and just get downright nasty. And some of you guys have even downright said nasty things about, like, why? Noah Centineo looks like a great guy. I don't know him personally, but I've seen him in interviews and stuff like that, and I like his movies. It's like, don't rip him apart, And here's one more thing I'm going to say. The 80s were a different time. Action heroes in the 80s were over the top, beefed up, testosterone, rage, comic book characters. All right. Nowadays, it's like the action stars, you got Jason Statham, Scott Adkins. They're built, they're in shape, they got the ripped, muscles and stuff, but they're not this over the top like Dolph Lundgren or Stallone was, or Schwarzenegger. Schwarzenegger was carrying, and like that was a different time. We still get great action movies with a different clientele of action star, but it's a different time, and I love that era. Like I said, I'm nostalgic for the era. I'm not stuck in it, but I understand the transformation of how how action cinema has gone throughout the years. So you guys just need to get off whatever high horse you're on and just be like, look, it's happening. And then I love the ones that say, I'm not going to watch it. Yes, you are. Shut up. Don't lie. You're going to watch it. You're going to watch it. And then you're going to say you hate it with whatever, but you're still going to watch it. Don't say you're not going to watch it. I hate when people come at me, I'm not going to watch this. I'm like, yes, you are. You are totally going to watch it. You're going to watch it opening day. You're going to go to the movie theater, sit your little butt in that theater seat with your popcorn, with your soda, and watch the shit out of it. And then you're going to bitch about it afterwards. I'm pretty sure. All right, let's move on, shall we? All right, here's what we got next in line for you today. And we got John Cena and Kevin Hart teaming up for the leading man, which sounds like John Cena doing what he did at Heads of State. If you all seen Heads of State, That's the movie where he it's on Amazon Prime right now, and he starts with Idris Elba as he's the president of the United States, and Idris Elba is the prime minister of Britain, and they have to thwart terrorist plots. But it happens that Cena in his past, kind of like Ronald Reagan. Ronald Reagan was an actor before he became president. John Cena's character, it was an action star before he became president. So, he kind of did one of those things and stuff. So it's funny because he played one on TV or in the movies, but he's hardly an action hero. And Idris Elba rips him. But Idris Elba was actually in the military. His character was actually in the military. So he's always ripping him on and everything. So here we go. So Deadline says that the new action comedy spec has been snagged by Netflix. So Kevin Hart has been crushing it with Netflix, doing a whole bunch of movies. And of course, we know John Cena has head to stay. Of course, he's got Peacemaker coming out later this month, which I'm excited for. I'm finally finishing up the first season. Yes, I know I didn't see Peacemaker until now. I'm sorry. There's so much to watch, and I just, and the DCEU was kind of like dead and buried, and I was just like, I wasn't that interested at the time, but now it's like, now that Cena's going to be Peacemaker in the new DCU with James Gunn and everything, I'm more revitalized to watching it. So the plot for Lead Man Center is a self-absorbed movie star. So Cena's playing a movie star who discovers that his co-star, man in the chair, Hart, is an actual agent. So this is kind of like Kevin Hart and Dwayne Johnson in Central Intelligence, where Kevin Hart played a regular guy, and then he and The Rock were high school. Well, they weren't friends in high school, but they knew each other in high school. And of course, The Rock was teased in high school, but then of course he turned into who he was and became a operative for the CIA. So it's kind of like that thing. And he's an actual agent, and he's forced to swallow his pride, accept that action stars aren't really action heroes while trying to save the world. So I guess essentially what Cena is doing in Head to Stay, where he plays an ex-action star turned president. Now he's the regular guy, where Hart, who's an action star, but Kevin Hart is not an actor per se. He's an undercover operative. So it sounds pretty cool. I mean, and like I said, just reading throughout, John and Eric Hober, the brother tandem, has written the script, which Netflix brought in. This is actually based on the comic book series. I forgot to mention, yes, I do know of the comic book series this is based off, that was created by Jeremy Hunt and B. Clay Moore. Cena and Hart will also serve as producers on the movie. The Hober brothers also sold another action pick to Netflix called Fast and Loose. That's been in the news lately, which stars bad boy Will Smith. But unfortunately, he was supposed to reunite with Michael Bay. Sorry, I put Michael Mann in the article. I'm gonna have to fix that. Oops, sorry, my bad. All right, so yeah, he was supposed to reunite with Michael Bay in the movie, but he dropped out due to creative differences. So that's kind of, that's like, he's worked with Smith a lot in the past, so I wonder what the creative differences were. But now that one's looking for a new director, Fast and Loose. But yeah, they wrote this one as well. And then Kevin Hart, he's also set to appear in 72 Hours, which is helmed by Tim Story. And it also starred in Fatherhood, Me Time, The Man from Toronto, and Lift. So he's been doing a bunch of Netflix movies, and this is going to be another one that he's going to be doing. So yeah, so it'll probably be another throwaway action comedy. It'll be enjoyable to watch, but at the end of the day, you'll probably just be like, yeah, okay, that was good. That was a good time waster. I mean, and I'm pretty sure that Cena and Hart was it. All right, now comes the real big thing that everybody got excited for over last weekend. And I was going to talk, and as you can see, the thumbnail is, I got to get my hands right. It's like, I got to say, like, if I want to point this way, I got to go that way. So as you can see from my thumbnail, I got Tommy Lee, the great Phillip Rhee, the martial arts icon, is Tommy Lee in the Best of Best movies. Boy, everybody got excited. And now here's the thing, though. I mean, it's a restrained excitement that I have. But Phillip Rhee confirms that Best of the Best 5 is in development. Yes, it is in development. He's written a script. That's what it means. So, and I know a lot of people have come at me in online and said he's been talking about this for years. Yeah, he's been talking about it for years, because he's been very vocal about how he has wanted to do another Best of the Best and basically reboot the franchise, if you will. And then let me just scroll down a little bit more. Here's the post he showed on Instagram. This is the script, the title page for his script. As you can see, it says "Best of the Best, Honor the Brave," which he wrote with Mark Nemkov. So he co-wrote it with him. So it's called "Honor the Brave," and that's the working title. Will it eventually be called that if it does get made? We do not know. And of course, about a month or so back, these guys teased on social media. They had lunch together. Philip, Simon, his brother, of course, Eric Roberts, who was in the first two Best of the Best movies. And that's when Philip mentioned Best of the Best 5 would be great. And everybody was like, oh, and then like people were thinking maybe Eric Roberts. Like, we don't even know if Eric Roberts is like, they had lunch together. So, and of course, he's older now. So, yeah, is he gonna be Alex Grady? Maybe no. I mean, it would be kind of cool, like if Alex Grady and Tommy Lee train like a new stable of fighters. That'd be kind of cool. Kind of like James Earl Jones did in the first one. That'd be kind of cool because it says "Honor the Brave," so take that for what you will. But Rhee made the announcement on his official Instagram page, and highlighting the front page of the script and even sharing the title. The fifth and longer-awaited installment is currently known as Best of the Best 5, Honor the Brave. And then, of course, he wrote on the social post, he said, "Best 5 is going to be awesome. I promise." So here's the thing. This isn't developed like nothing. There's no nothing. It's a script. He's got a script. He's trying to develop it. He's trying. Now, will he get it done? I think he will. I think there's going to be some interest to it. And then I wrote in my article, I said, fans of action and most notably martial arts action worship Best of the Best series ever since Rhee, his brother Simon, and Eric Roberts started the cult classic original back in 1989. Cheesy above anything. The first one, of course you've seen it if you follow this website, total cheese, but total awesome at the same time. That ending, everybody's crying. It's like, holy cow. 20th Century Fox, which is now, of course, 20th Century Studios at the time, released the inaugural flick along with its much more violent action, or Best of the Best 2. So they turned Best of the Best 2 into a full-on action movie because we all know that Chris Penn's character gets killed, and of course they all go into revenge mode. Even Simon teams up with them at the end, and it's a total free-for-all and everything. So they went from a tournament movie in the first one to a total full-out revenge action movie in the second one. And of course, the last two movies, Phillip Rhee did himself, and he directed himself. The third one, Best of the Best 3, No Turning Back, I love. He fights the white supremacists, and I thought the ending was awesome. Ending, it was chef's kiss. He was totally going ballistic at the end of that movie, and there's a lot of good fight scenes throughout the movie, and the ending was great. It's got Christopher McDonald as, a shooter from Happy Gilmore. He played his brother-in-law, and who's married to his sister in the movie, and he's a sheriff of the town. And Christopher McDowell gets in on the action. He goes in at the end too, helps Tommy Lee, shoots a lot of bad guys with a shotgun, which is pretty cool. The fourth one, it had a lot of good moments in it. It's the ending was weak, but he's got a great fight scene where he takes on all these guys in like a dojo type atmosphere, which was pretty good. I like them all. Of course, the first one's a classic. The second one is like total 90s direct. Well, it's not it did go into movies because I saw it in the theater, but it's just awesome on so many levels because they just like I said, turned it into a full-blown martial arts movie. But anyway, so Rhee wrote at the time when he shared this picture of all three of them, mini reunion with Eric Roberts, actor also known as Alexander Grady from Best of Best. We had so much fun sharing old stories and planning Best 5. So that's why everybody thinks that Roberts might be involved in some way, shape, or form with the current project that they're trying to make. And I shared this from my action brother from another mother, Owen Frill from the Action League. Actually, he didn't do this interview. I thought he did, but it was our friend David J. Moore who talked to Phillip Rhee. But it's an interview for the Action Elite, and I put that in there. So check out the Action Elite. And he interviewed Phillip Rhee for when he did. You guys remember Underdog Kids? It was kind of like a Karate Kid movie. Where Phillip Rhee's like this down and out ex-fighter, and he trains these young kids, Karate Kid style, to beat the much better karate team. So I enjoyed that. I should look back at that one day and kind of talk about it. It's pretty good. It's a good family movie. But anyway, he interviewed David J. Moore in the Action League, interviewed Phillip Rhee. And in the article, which this came out a little while ago, he said, we're going to reboot the whole franchise with a new cast. I have things. I'm going to bring in elements that nobody has ever seen before. I will produce the picture. So he's going to produce it. So we don't know if he's going to direct it, or is he going to get another director, if he's going to star in it. Obviously, if he's going to do it, he's going to be in it some way, shape, or form. He might not direct it, which is fine. But at the same time, he's got to be in it. And of course, Simon has to be in it because even though they're older, they can still move, And then let me pan down here a little bit more. And then here's where you can see the article for from the Action Elite interview with Phillip Rhee for Underdog Kids. Yeah, so that's pretty cool. Will it happen? Who knows? I mean, it might. A lot of movies get talked about. I always joke, like I'm going to do a special ACTION-FLIX podcast episode where I go back in time to all the movie articles that I wrote about that didn't happen. Because if you go back, especially in the news section, there's a shitload of movie articles that I talked about in the past that never happened, whether it was because of the pandemic or something else fell through or anything. There's a lot of stuff that didn't happen. I just want to go through and just kind of talk about what could have been. That'll be an awesome idea. What could have been the ACTION-FLIX podcast. I'm going to do that. Yeah, I just thought of that thing. See, I'm a genius. All right, so we got that in times. Now we got something else really cool to talk about. I'm going to bring it up here. We got Dave Bautista. Yeah, he's doing double duty, basically, is what it sounded like right now. So he's been confirmed to be in talk. Now, he's in final negotiations when I wrote this article. So we'll see what happens. I mean, I haven't heard anything regardless of the fact. But here we go. Dave Bautista is in talks to Sun the Ring for both Road House 2 with Jake Gyllenhaal and Henry Cavill's Highlander, where he's going to play the Kurgan, which Clancy Brown did so amazing back in the day when the first movie came out. The first movie is a cult mother effing classic and one of the best action movies of all time. I will fight anybody on it who does not believe me on that one. But let me get into it here. So, and again, like I said, when this article was written last week, and so I should have bet money. I said this in the article. I should have bet money as I was thinking that Bautista, because I was thinking about because Highlander's been in like development hell for a lot of years. It's gone through so many transitions, directors, actors. Now, of course, Chad Stahelski and Henry Cavill, who I'm excited about because Henry Cavill, if you watch The Witcher, because he was in the first 3 seasons, I believe, before he bowed out, and now Liam Hemsworth is doing it, which I'm still excited to see. But that show rocks. I mean, there's a lot of mythos to it, and you got to really pay attention a lot of times. But Henry Cavill's sword fighting skills are sick in that series. So just imagine what Chad Stahelski in 8711 can do with the fight scenes and Cavill and what he's already done in The Witcher. Holy cow. I am so excited for this. And yes, I know it's a reimagining or reboot of the original. Why do it? Because it sounds freaking awesome. And if you want anybody to do a reboot or reimagining, it's Chad Stahelski, because the man is an action maestro. And it's cool to see that he's going to be doing something that isn't John Wick, because pretty much all he's directed is John Wick movies. And then he gets attached to all these other movies, but then they never happen. Like David Leitch, same thing. He co-directed the first John Wick movie with Chad. And I still have to watch Wick is Pain, the documentary about the making of the first John Wick movie. I started watching it, but then I had to stop it, but I haven't gone back to it since. But, oh, it's so good. And so much information and everything. That movie almost didn't happen. But anyway, so David Leitch has been tagged to do a lot of movies. And just aren't happening. So they get thrown all over the place. And that's some of the articles that I'll go back to and talk about that just didn't happen. But anyway, going back to Mr. Bautista. So he's eyeing both roles in Roadhouse. And they're saying in Roadhouse 2, he's going to be the Sam Elliott role. He's going to be the mentor to Jake Gyllenhaal, which, sign me up. So we all know Sam Elliott crushed it. Wade Garrett, Wade Garrett's old. He's still the best, so I can't wait to see what Bautista, because of course you don't want Dave Bautista doing Sam Elliott. Sam Elliott did Sam Elliott. Sam Elliott did Wade Garrett. It's not going to, will he be named Wade Garrett? I don't know. Dalton was named Dalton, although they named him Elwood Dalton. But I think they should give him a different name and just still be the mentor. And then, he comes in because Dalton's having issues like in the first movie with Swayze and Elliott. And then, of course, we all know Conor McGregor is going to be back for vengeance because they teased it with him escaping the hospital butt naked with his, his Johnny hanging down. So, oh God, what a character that man is. Anyway, so here's the thing. So yeah, so he's rumored to be playing the mentor role in the Wade Garrett role in Roadhouse 2, and of course the Kurgan in the Highlander reimagining. If Bautista joins Highlander, he will be added to a great cast that already features Cavill as well as Russell Crowe. We all know Russell Crowe. He's going to be the Ramirez character, Sean Connery's Ramirez character, and Marisa Abela from Black Bag and Back to Black, who's going to be Roxanne Hart, was the love interest in the first movie. She's basically going to be playing the Brenda role. Of course, we don't know if they're going to have the same names, but it is what it is. Now, we all know Roadhouse 2 lost Guy Ritchie. It was going to be, we all know that Doug Liman wasn't going to direct the sequel because of the issues he had with Amazon MGM not releasing the first one theatrically. So they went out, got Guy Ritchie, which everybody was like, yeah. And then Guy Ritchie dropped out. So now we have Ilya Naishuller. Again, I hope I got to go on like YouTube and see videos with these people and see them from. Anyway, Ilya Naishuller, who did the first Nobody, which I enjoyed very much, and Hardcore Henry. If you haven't seen Hardcore Henry, that's the first person action movie where you only see it from the view of the action, well, the hero, the not the protagonist, which was. It was a cool experiment. It got kind of tiresome as the movie went along, but it still had a lot of great action in it. So, of course, we know the sequel will further the story of Gyllenhaal's Elwood Dalton, who was a famous UFC fighter who fell on hard times and has since become a bouncer. I think he didn't become a cooler. Like in the original, Swayze was the cooler. He was in charge of the bouncers. But here, in the first one, he was just the bouncer. Hopefully, both deals will be reached, and Bautista. Now, the only other thing I said in the article was, will he, shooting wise, if he's going to do both of these movies, when are they going to be shooting? Or is he going to do what Dolph Lundgren did? Like Dolph Lundgren was filming Aquaman 2 and The Expendables 4 at the same time. And he was going, because I interviewed him when he was doing it. And he was like, I'm flying back and forth. So Bautista wants to get 2 paychecks at the same time, make a lot of bank, star in a couple, hopefully good movies. But here's the thing. I just hope that they hang on. But here's the thing. So sorry, I just got a message. But I want more Roadhousing. Like if you're gonna do Roadhouse 2, fix the original, or not the original, the first one. We all know the original was almost perfect. But yeah, put Roadhousing in it, put bar fights in it. We all know. I interviewed Marshall Teague. All right, he talked extensively about making Roadhouse, and he said we all came to film a movie, and a bar fight broke out because there was bar fighting all over, and of course the ending and everything, and of course his iconic climax. Well, that wasn't the climactic fight. I kind of like that it wasn't the climactic fight. It was he fought him. Then the finale happened afterwards. But of course, with Patrick Swayze, and it's one of the best Western fight scenes ever. And his fight, Gyllenhaal's fight with Conor McGregor was pretty cool. I mean, there's a lot of MMA going on and everything because we all know Gyllenhaal training. His character is a former MMA fighter. We all know Conor McGregor is a real life MMA fighter. So of course we know that Conor McGregor brought his mentality to it and his expertise. They delivered a pretty good fight, and it was pretty brutal, pretty violent. But I just wish the rest of the movie had that. I mean, I like Gyllenhaal. I liked what he did. He had that kind of PTSD thing going on where he was like this quiet, reserved, nice guy. But then down below, there's this like lion, like rage out. And then when it does, like he kills the guy in the pool and shit. It's just like, I liked it. But it's just, I didn't like the fact that there wasn't any roadhousing going on. There was like one little scene here, and then the finale. That's the biggest issue I had with it. So hopefully they fix that in the next one. And we shall see. Who knows? What are you going to do? All right, let me see if I got anything else to talk about here. Let me go into my intel section. So that's pretty much what I had. So we had the breaking news of Noah Centineo being the new young John J. Rambo. John Cena teams up with Kevin Hart. Phillip Rhee teases best of the best 5. Bautista. Oh, yes, here we go. I almost forgot. It was on my thumbnail. Jon Bernthal is back, baby. And this is kind of old. This was from last week, but I was going to talk about it last week. But yeah, so for one thing, they show him in his full-on Punisher gear, which a lot of people complained about, and I'll get into that in a second. But Jon Bernthal filmed the Punisher one-shot special for Disney Plus, and is doing his scenes for Spider-Man: Brand New Day. So let me get into that, and let me just say I like the look, because here's the thing. Again, I'm a Punisher fan from very long time ago. And we all know the different looks that the Punisher have had. I love Jon Bernthal's portrayal of the Punisher. Some people don't. Some people say it took him too long to become the Punisher, and he's still at odds with it. I kind of like that aspect of it, because when you're this type of person, you're going to be fighting yourself a lot. Yes, you want vengeance or punishment for you punish the guilty for what happened to your family and everything, and how you've been wrong, but you're still going to have inner demons and be fighting with yourself. I kind of like that aspect of the character. Because we all know from the comic books, he had that in the comic books as well. And again, read a comic book, people. Okay, that's all I'm saying. Okay, anyways, so going down the line here, I'm going to pull up his full. Yeah, there he is in all his glory. Okay, now here's the thing. There he is. There's the skull. The skull is spray painted on his tactical vest. His bulletproof vest. He's got the belts, the ammo, the gloves, and some guy posted to me, he should be wearing his white gloves and boots. I'm like, no, he shouldn't. No, he shouldn't. Listen, that's how he first came out. That's how he looks a lot in the earlier comic books and everything. But no, you will not want Jon Bernthal wearing white gloves and white boots. It's not going to translate well onto the screen. This is the way you want your Punisher. This is the way right here. Tactical, geared up, jocked up. Look, the skull's front and center. If anything, the skull he's been wearing previously in the Netflix series and then Punisher Daredevil Born Again, it was faded. I like the skull look there, but it was kind of like, in the mist. It wasn't like as outgoing as it is here. So I like the fact that means the skull's there, baby. He's embracing it. He's the Punisher. So I love that aspect. And then people are like, oh, I don't like it. I'm like, well, if you don't like it, then I can't help you. I don't know what else to say anymore. But there's been a lot of good stuff online. Now the plot's under wraps. And I'll show a couple cool things here. First of all, I'll show this, if it's still available. So here is Jon Bernthal doing a fight scene. So that looks pretty cool. So as you can see, he gets attacked. And here's the thing, we all know from Daredevil Born Again, things aren't good. Like Kingpin is pretty much burning the city down, being the mayor, kind of like the country. But anyways, so yeah, the streets are in chaos, and you see there's a lot of footage of Bernthal kind of just walking through. He's drinking a coffee as people are running for their lives and stuff like that. But I think he just finally has enough of it and just starts to beat MFers up. So that's pretty cool. So there's that. Okay, so that looks pretty brutal. And of course, it's going to get even more brutal than that. Then we have this scene right here. Hang on. So give it a second to come up. So there's John. He's just kind of like, there's like buses blocking the road. And then this is the extended scene. All right. So he's kind of like just minding his own business. And then these guys come up, hey, let's mess with this guy. Yeah, you mess with the wrong MF. But yeah, the city's in chaos. You can see there's smoke, people running, guys driving by on motorbikes, people running, mass hysteria, dogs and cats living together. So it's like, so let's talk about this, shall we? So, the reports of the infamous gun toting, and I wrote this in the article. The reports of the infamous gun-toting vigilante's demise have severely been misleading, as Frank Castle is alive and well. Because we all know that they kind of ended his character in the King of Killers story that a lot of people hated. I liked it, by the way. It was a weird, little out there. Yeah, it was. But it was kind of cool to see the Punisher in like a way different light and a whole different scenario and how it ended. And then, of course, they tried the new Punisher with the Shield agent. And that I remember I was collecting them. I was like, where's the Punisher at? They're like, oh, they canceled it. I'm like, oh, that's why I'm not getting any more. But I guess, yeah, it didn't last very long. But that got kind of, that was kind of along the lines of King of Killers too, kind of weird, but, I was digging it. Anyway, so now we're not getting one, but two Punisher comics. So we're getting a Punisher Red Band label. And then, of course, we're getting another Punisher comic called Marvel Knights, The World to Come, The Punisher. So we're getting two Punisher comic titles coming out this fall. There you go. So everybody, but they were saying Marvel didn't know what to do with the skull anymore because the skull was being used for the wrong reasons in real life and stuff like that. You know what? It's a comic book character. It's a symbol for a comic book character. Just embrace it. If somebody decides to use it for something, people use symbols the wrong way all the time. It is what it is. So, yeah. So one, I love his look. And I love the reveal for it. It's pretty cool. And pretty neat. So I'm going to show you the one more here. Hang on a second. Let me go back here. I got to go back in time. All right. So here's this one now. This is the one I meant to get to the first time. Give me 1 second as it comes up. Hang on. Okay. So here's the one I'm talking about. The world, the streets are in chaos. Whatever the Kingpin's doing, everybody's it's mass hysteria. And throughout this mass hysteria, you just see Jon walking. He comes up here pretty soon, and he's just like, "Yep, here he comes." He's got his hoodie on. He's drinking a cup of coffee. I'd say he's just like minding his own business. Like, "Yep, I'm just going out and getting my morning cup of Joe." So, yep. So it looks like that doesn't end well as he gets into a major altercation with some thugs and beats the ever-living snot out of them, which is pretty cool. So here's the thing about the Punisher one-shot special. Okay, so they're saying, and this is pretty easy, as I read this, I'm going to put up the Mr. Bernthal in his tactical suit. I love the look. I mean, that's what you want the Punisher wearing in today, for it's got tactical sustainability. Anyway, the events of Punisher one shot clearly takes place after Frank escapes. If you saw the Punisher in Daredevil Born Again, a lot of people didn't like it. I loved it. He went full on brutal. Did he get kidnapped or did he get captured? Yeah, it happens. Our heroes and anti-heroes, things don't go well for them all the time. But one guy was saying, "Oh, you wouldn't get captured." I'm like, yeah, it's happened before. Yeah, it's called because if he was just this indestructible killing machine, there'd be no stakes, you idiot. Anyway, so the stinger scene at the end of Daredevil Born Again shows Frank escaping from the Kingpin's modified jail, and now he navigates New York City that has descended to chaos after the events of Born Again. The plot of the special presentation is top secret right now, but besides Berthold, the cast includes Jason R. Moore is returning as Frank's military friend Curtis, which is kind of cool, as well as Roy Rensell. There are also reports saying that a female actor has been cast in a crime boss role, which has fans speculating that it could be the one and only Manucci, who figured heavily in the Welcome Back Frank storyline that was penned by Garth Ennis in 2000. Yes. So there you go. So, yeah. So I'm excited. Not only are we getting the Punisher in the one shot, but we're getting the Punisher in Brand New Day. And here's another thing I got to talk about. And again, everybody's saying, "Oh, the Jon Bernthal's the Punisher's in Spider-Man Brand New Day. It's gonna be watered down. It's PG-13. He's not gonna be blowing heads off and shit like that." Listen, read a comic book again. The Punisher has first premiered in Amazing Spider-Man. He's teamed up with Spider-Man or has had affiliation with Spider-Man numerous times throughout the comics. And when he's worked with Spider-Man, for whatever reason, he's gone non-lethal in his tactical missions. Rubber bullets, using non-lethal tactics. Read a comic book. I hate people that just think about that there's only the really violent Garth Ennis line, the Max series, this and that. Yes, the Punisher gets brutal, gets savage, gets barbaric, gets downright unforgiving, but at the same time, he has gone non-tactical out of respect for the people that he's working with. Read a comic book, people. Don't come at me with that argument anymore because I'm just going to beat you up over it with words, of course. But I just had to address that because everybody's it's going to be watered down. Shut up. Just shut up and educate yourselves and research before you start talking crap you don't know about. Anyway, so we got that happening, and I couldn't be more excited. Like I said, we're getting the Punisher on the big screen. Like Berthal's going to be on the big screen. So how cool is that? So he's been only on the small screen, with the Netflix series and now with Daredevil Born Again. So that sounds pretty cool. Okay, I got one more thing to talk about here today that I am wrapping it up for this edition of the ACTION-FLIX Live. Thank you for anybody that's joined me. And I know, like I said, it's early yet, but I wanted to do this and get it in because I got cut off yesterday. We all know Alan Ritchson, who is in Reacher. He's the flavor, man. He's the it guy. And of course, he was in the Ministry of Ungentlemanly Warfare. He was awesome in that movie. Reacher, he freaking crushes it. He's brutal in that. Not only brutal, but does an awesome job with the character and the acting and how he brings the character to life from the books. But now he's got a really interesting movie coming out, and let me share it with you guys. It's called Motor City, and I actually talked about this a little bit ago, a few years ago, maybe. And it's a 1970s era action with 4 lines of dialogue. So it's kind of like Silent Night that John Woo did with Joel Kinnaman, where there was no dialogue at all, except for hearing like people on TVs and stuff like that. Nobody spoke a word. This one is only going to have 4 lines of dialogue. And that's the first official image of Alan Ritchson standing in front of a vintage car holding a shotgun, looking very bloody and very beat up, but still ready to tussle. So let me get it up here on my iPad, and then I'm going to talk about this, and then we will wrap it up. All right. So hang on. It's playing havoc with me. I'll get there in a minute. No worries. And I have to do a trailer tactical too, because there's a lot of good trailers I want to talk about. But let's talk about this one first. So this movie was actually supposed to be directed by another director that dropped out, but this is going to make its introductory world premiere at the Toronto International Film Festival, or the TIFF as it is normally called. The film comes from director Patsy Pancioli, who is previously best known for helming Old Henry, which is a western that I want to check out because I heard it's really good, as well as co-scripting and directing the comedy Super Zeros. Pancioli, I hope it again. Pancioli has also recently made the movie news, being touted as the one who was hired to write the in development Goonies sequel. So we all know they're trying to get a Goonies sequel done, and they're trying to get Steven Spielberg to sign off on it. But I guess he's the one that's writing it, which is kind of cool. Anyway, you slice it, this one looks to be hard driving and hard hitting, and the new image just confirms that, of Ritchson standing in front of the vintage car, looking all sorts of pissed off, which you can see right there on the side. The plot for Motor City: Ritchson will play John Miller, a Detroit man released from prison who unleashes a rampage of brutal vengeance on those who framed him. The Detroit set film will be characterized by immersive visual storytelling with stunningly choreographed and stylized action sequences. Motor City features a stacked cast as Ritchson stars alongside Shailene Woodley, Ben Foster, who I love, and Pablo Schreiber. I love Pablo Schreiber. I saw him at New York Comic Con. I didn't get a chance to talk to him, but I saw him out. He was like 20 feet away from me. I was like, that's Pablo. Chad St. John penned the script and all 4 lines of it. But of course, he wrote, we know writing a script is more than just the dialogue. It's writing the scenes and everything. So, there's more to it than that. But that's going to make its world premiere at the Toronto International Film Festival, which I will not be able to see. So I'll have to wait for it to come out in some other way, shape, or form. All right. So that's what I got for today. Thank you again. I know some of you guys popped up to watch me here for a little bit. Like I said, I wanted to get this live episode out of the way because I was doing it last night. I was getting some good feedback with you guys, and then I got cut off. So I'm just happy that I was able to put it in the books and talk about some of this exciting stuff that we got going on in the world of action cinema. All right, so I got a lot of good interviews coming up that I'm working on too at the same time. So here's the thing. And I'm going to announce it because it's in the can. I got it. I have the video. I interviewed Scott Adkins for Prisoner of War. Yes, I did. That comes out September 12th, I believe, from Well Go USA. It's also making its debut at the end of the month at the Big Bad Film Fest. I have seen it. I got to see it because Mr. Adkins gave me an in-depth interview. Normally, I talk to Scott. I talked to Scott 10 times before. He's the action star that I've talked the most with on the site, and I tell him that every time, and he's floored by it. But this is our 11th interview, and he wanted, listen, I'm going to say this because he is such a great guy. He wanted to thank me for all the support that I've given him, because I was the one, before he did John Wick and before he started doing some of these other bigger films, and people were like, hey, Scott Adkins, he's a really good action star. We've all been saying that for years, and I've been supporting him because he's one of my, if not my favorite action star today. He's one of my favorite action stars. I have a whole section on the website, Essential Adkins. I have a new podcast, Ultimate Adkins Action, that I'm starting to do. So he wanted to thank me for all that I did for him, and he reached out to me, not the PR, because normally the PR people, here's how it goes, and I say this in the interview, like I get on and then Scott pops up, and then you hear the PR person, and they're like, hey, John. I'm like, hey. And then Scott's like, hey, John. I'm like, hey, Scott. He's like, okay, John, you got 8 minutes. And then you're like, Diablo was great. The action was good. Tell me about your character. It's like, you can't do anything in 8 minutes. Every time I talk to Scott, it's like 8 or 10 minutes long. I think the longest interview I got is maybe 13, 14 minutes with him. But he reached out to me. First of all, he started following me on X. And then he reached out to me and said, hey, John, I just want to do this for you. You've been great to me and everything. So he gave me an in-depth interview. We talked for an hour and 15 minutes. He wanted to give me an hour, and I got an hour and 15. We talk about Prisoner of War. And we talk, and I went through my 5 favorite fight scenes of his. It's a really cool interview. You're gonna love it when it comes out. We talk about my favorite fight scenes, and he gives me a lot of good, like, in-depth stories about each and every fight and everything. It's such an awesome interview. I hung out with him for the day on Zoom. It was so great. I was so excited. I was like a kid in a candy store. I can't say enough good things about Scott Adkins. He's down to earth. He's grounded. He knows the success he's had. He should be more successful than he is, but he knows who his fans are. He knows who his supporters are, and he takes the time out of his busy schedule, because he's constantly filming, to reach out and just what he did for me. I mean, and to talk to me for all of his movies. I can't thank him enough. But that's going to be coming out in September. I'm so excited for you guys to see it. Huge interview. We talk about all kinds of good stuff. We talk about his new gym. It's an hour and 15 minutes with the man, with the icon, the action hero of today, Scott Adkins. So be on the lookout for that. And I got a lot of other good interviews that I'm putting out too, that will be out this week, that I'm able to put out this week. So be on the lookout for that. So until then, everybody, all I got to say is be nice until it's time to not be nice. And when that happens, you know what to do. All right, everybody. Have a good day.